this might be a little bit better. It's a little tilted, but when your 12-year-old hides your gorilla holder from you and you have to go searching for it at the very last second, it's not super easy. All right, so hello for everybody that's there. I'm gonna kind of log in right now just to see, so I can actually read if anybody has any comments or questions beforehand, and then I'll introduce myself and then we'll do what we were gonna do. We'll just get started. I'm hoping that this angle is okay. If you guys could let me know if it's not. Johan hid this from me, and I was trying to make it closer so that I didn't have to move it again and we don't have the shakiness from him holding it. He won't be here. He was home early last time. So we'll just get started. If it's any problem when I'm actually standing, it is on a tripod, so I can move it, and there will be no shakiness. But I was trying to get an angle that was a little bit closer, and then also one that I could easily move back if needed. So if there's any questions, let me know for sure, and then I'll just try to check in when I can. But good morning. For those of you that do not know, I'm Kendra Nielsen-Miles. I started EDS Wellness about 5 years ago, went nonprofit this year. The purpose of EDS Wellness is to provide services and health education and professional education for patients and people in our community. I'm a huge believer in services and programs, probably because my background is in public health. That was basically what I learned in school, was how to develop huge programs and then to actually implement them on a smaller level, and then even start working with patients one-on-one. So I'm a big proponent of services and programs and also research. A lot of times when you do these programs in public health, you actually do research while you're doing them, so you can actually find out if the services and the programs that you are providing to people actually are helpful. That's the whole basis, is to actually really find out, not only offer the programs to help you guys, but also to hopefully find out if they actually work. So that's also part of research. Research isn't just helping us find a cure, it's also helping us find therapies and services that actually work for us. It won't ever help everybody, but at least we can try to find the things that actually work for a good majority of us, or a lot of us, and maybe tailor it to different populations of us within the EDS population based upon what we have issues with and what we don't have. Now, my first disclaimer, other than telling you who I am, why I'm here, I am a certified health education specialist. I'm here, I told you pretty much why I'm here. I want to be able to reach you guys easily, provide you something to do, honestly, and you guys provide me motivation. It is hard to get up every day, I will be honest, and especially to shower, let alone put like makeup on, or even a little bit that I do. It's tough, and I'm right there with you guys. It's a challenge, so I'm hoping that if we do this together and regularly, based upon my schedule and when I can do it, that at least it's something. If you can't do anything, you can just watch. That's my other caveat, is disclaimer, by all means, what I'm doing here is not meant to take precedent over your doctor's recommendations, your PT, make you suggest that you do something you shouldn't be doing. I really have no idea. I can't even see you, so I can't tell where you are, what you're doing, what issues you have, if you're in proper alignment, if you're not. I'm just here to just provide some services, some help, some information to people, and if it helps one person, then it's worth it. So by all means, disclaimer, I am not trying to take a place or tell you to do something you shouldn't. You need to listen to your body, you need to talk to your doctor and your PT before you do anything. Even these classes, you want to make sure that what you're doing is right. If you feel comfortable, you can join me. If you're not comfortable, then you need to listen to your body. That's a huge part of what I do also, is empowerment of patients to really understand that we are strong and we can listen to our bodies, and our bodies are incredibly strong and they are able to get better. I don't know which way to get better for you. How I get better is different every day, I swear. And I'm still trying to figure it out. So the point is to find something and hopefully hope little tidbits of information here and there for 5 minutes, 3 times a week. And then to make it kind of very casual and no big deal, and we just do it and then go about our day. So that's pretty much how it is. That's my disclaimer. Don't do anything you don't want to do. Don't do anything that you shouldn't be doing. Don't do anything that you don't think your doctor would tell you to do. And if you're laying in bed, a lot of times the things that we do can be modified in bed if they're done safely and if you feel comfortable and if your doctor says it's okay. The point of movement is because our connective tissues, or our muscles, do what our connective tissues cannot. Obviously our connective tissues have some sort of I don't like to say dysfunction, but some sort of issue with the way that they transfer messages, the way that it sends messages to our muscles, the way that it works. It makes us have looser joints, doesn't support our organs as much as possible as it should. So our muscles really do the work that our connective tissues cannot. They kind of make up for the slack, if you will. So it's important to make sure that you stay as strong as possible, as much as you can. What I do, what somebody else does, somebody who runs a triathlon, isn't where somebody else who's been very deconditioned is just starting. Everybody starts at a different level, and I swear every couple weeks or even week, every day, sometimes it feels different. So you've got to listen to your body, and you've got to do what you are comfortable doing within the guidance of your own providers and your physical therapist. If you don't have somebody that you go to and you don't really know what to do, then maybe hopefully you'll learn something here. Maybe you'll feel a little bit more confident with trying something that you feel is within reason of your own safety. So again, our muscles do what our connective tissues cannot, and movement is critical. Movement critical is for life, whether you're hypermobile or not. And it doesn't necessarily mean going to an exercise class every day. It means just moving more during the day and moving better, or finding ways to do so. So the first thing I wanted to tell you guys, I try to give little tidbits of information of tools that I use in my everyday life. I share this all the time. One, I'm a huge fan of the Fitbit. I've shared that a lot, and the reason why I'm a huge fan of the Fitbit is, one, because it's economical. It's not super expensive. Some people have Apple Watches. They have other different GPS things that track steps. But the Fitbit is great for anybody because you can buy one as least expensive as possible. I find that they're pretty reliable, and if they're not reliable, you can actually send it back to the company. We've had luck if you call them and you say that you're having a problem. Number two, they have the heart rate. The charge heart rate actually has been fantastic for me personally when I'm trying to figure out why I can't sleep. I track my sleep, and then I compare it to my heart rate. So not only am I tracking my steps per day, I'm really tracking my heart rate to find out, why am I feeling off, if I'm having a flare with POTS and dysautonomia. It always inevitably will show up in my heart rate and show up in my sleep. So then that information I can help provide to my doctors, and we can try to figure out some of the best things. Honestly, another thing is that if I'm having a reaction to a medication, it will show up almost always on my Fitbit before I even realize it. I'll see the spikes in my heart rate. It'll cause me not to sleep as well, a whole bunch of different things. So it's very informative. There's a whole bunch of different models now. If anybody has any questions, I can definitely help. But I'm a huge fan of the Fitbit. I don't know if you can see mine. It's the charge heart rate. It has I don't know. I haven't walked very much today. So that's my Fitbit. So if anybody has any questions about tools or tricks to use at home, you can see this is my yoga room or my workout room, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. I have a ton of physical therapy stuff in here. I do physical therapy at home. There's a lot of resources that I shared before that I bought on Amazon. They're not very expensive at all. There's a lot of ways that either can help you with pain or things that you can help do your exercises at home. So I'm always willing to share what I use and where to find it. And before we get started, there's two things I wanted to do today for the class is standing exercises. You can actually do them seated too. You can even do them laying in bed. It helps pump the blood from the legs, which is blood pooling to our legs actually is one of the reasons why we get dizzy when we stand up. Everything drops. So when you are standing in place, you can do little heel raises, different, they call it, heel raises, heel pumps, whatever you want to do. And you can even do them if you're sitting. If you can't do it standing, you can do it in line at the grocery store. If you stand in the grocery store, you can also do it in bed while you're laying down. You can still do the safe movement. So that was the first thing I was going to do. And then the second was just a very simple seated sun salutation for yoga. We can talk more about yoga in a minute, but I'm not going to do anything crazy. It's going to probably be all of a minute. But at least if you are at all hesitant, you have questions about yoga, just watch. And then I can answer questions. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to move this back so you guys can see my feet. And then I'll show you what I mean by the standing heel raises, and then how you can do them to modify in a chair or laying down. So you're standing. If you can see my feet, I think you can, because there's comments on it, and I can't really necessarily read the comments. So if you're standing, you're going to hold on to something. If you have great balance, you don't have to hold on to something, but this is what I do a lot of times when I'm standing in place. I have a really hard time standing still. It causes a lot of pain in my back, so I try to move a little bit. I'm always moving. I really don't even like to sit down too much. So what I do when I'm standing is I just do heel raises. I try to do maybe 10 at a time. and make sure you're in good, proper foot placement. You want to make sure that you are as safe as possible. By all means, if you can't keep your balance, don't do it. I do these either standing in line. I sometimes hold on to them, and I kind of do them if my legs are aching. I try to aim for 5 or 10 at a time. Sometimes I'm a huge fan of bar, which is a big fitness thing right now that people are doing. But sometimes I'll put my feet in first position. If you're not comfortable, don't do this. This is more of an advanced type of movement. But I put my feet in first position and I kind of go up and down like this. I do this because it activates different muscles behind in my glutes. But again, just standing heel raises. You can do 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you want, and you're feeling really strong, you can kind of hold it up for a little bit. Again, be very careful before you do something like this. You want to make sure that you kind of have, rolled around your ankles, maybe flexed your feet a little bit, because I know a lot of us deal with muscle spasms. So don't go right into that. I usually, before I do something like that, I've been moving around during the day. A way to modify it, you're sitting down. You want to make sure that you're seated comfortably in a chair, that your back is straight with alignment. And that your neck is in a neutral position, not going down, not going back up. Put your hands down, and you can just kind of pump your ankles like this. Again, 5, maybe 10 times. You can do that while you're seated. Again, watch for muscle spasms. Maybe roll around your ankles a little bit before you start. Kind of flex and point your feet as comfortably as you can. Sometimes it's just a little tiny movement first, and then maybe do a couple of these before you get out of bed. This is a great exercise to do before you get out of bed. When I get up in the morning, I never really know how I'm going to feel. It's a tough, I hate getting up in the morning, I'll be honest. It's not a pleasant thing for me. It never really has been. I had a couple of days in October where I felt